What I'm going to show you here now is just how easy it is to mount your tire onto this two-piece rim that we have right here. What we're going to be using today is the 12-volt rim, a new O-ring, a bag of balancing beads. You may have experience with an active balancer from the early 90s where they use sand. Farmers tend to use antifreeze. Off-road enthusiasts might like either airsoft pellets or even golf balls, I've heard of. What we have here is a specially engineered plastic bead. It's large enough to not come through your valve stem, so when you remove your valve core to change out your tire, you're not going to get sandblasted like we did in the 90s. And it's also made with a special static charge so that as you're driving down the road and you come to a stop, these will hold their position for up to several minutes before falling out of place. Normally with an active balancer, the active balancing doesn't kick in until about 35 miles an hour. Because of the static charge though on these, they will hold, so after you've got that initial driving done, they're actually still working even when stopped. The advantage of active balancer versus a lead weight is over time, as you wear your tire down, the balance point of that tire actually changes depending on how much material is lost and where. The active balancer manages to change its balance point every mile down the road. So if you're going down the road and you hit a pothole and actually lose a chunk of your tire, don't fear. The balancer will find the new spot. When you were a kid, if you ever took that bucket of water and spun it around really fast and you never lost a drop of water, that's the same principle behind these active balance beads. The other thing that we're going to have is our locking nuts that hold the rim together. You're going to need an impact with a 3/4 inch socket and an air source. That's all that we're going to need to install this tire. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take our tire and we're going to determine which side is the prettiest side. And that's the side that you're going to want facing out. So we've got a little dust and dirt on this side. I don't like that. That's not pretty. That's going to drop right down over the rim. Done. Take your balance beads. Your balance beads, there's two bags. There's an outer and an inner bag. This is specifically measured exact each and every time for this tire size that you have. This outer bag will break open either when I drop it in or when you start going down the road. So simply take that inside the tire. We'll take our O-ring, drop it down around the studs, and use your fingers to bring that in to that ridge. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect. It will get pushed into place. Working with the 12-volt rim, there's an alignment hole, both on the face as well as on the base. You just take that alignment hole and drop it in place. That's it. Being a 12-volt, we have 12 nuts. Just got to get these started. Now what's really nice about a rim of this type, let's say you decide to go off-road. And while you're off-road, you air your tires down and whoops, you hit a rock that's under the mud, under the dirt, in the river, whatever it might be, and you blow this tire. You know, not necessarily blow the tire, but you knock it off the bead. What you used to have to do is go ahead and get the bead reseated while you're on the trail, air your tire up, get off the trail, knock your tire down again because it's going to be full of mud, water, sticks, rocks, whatever might have been in the trail under the ground. Break your tire down, clean all that stuff out and put it back together. Well, With this type of rim, as long as you carry along a good quality half-inch impact, you can break this down while you're on the trail, take your tire off of the rim, clean it out while you're there on the trail, and put it right back together, air it up and go. There's no need to keep driving your vehicle around with mud, rocks, and debris inside your tire. So now, just like what you'd be doing when you put this on the vehicle, you're gonna do kind of a star or a cross pattern to run these down. Now once I have them all snugged up, me personally, I'm gonna start by the valve stem and work my way all the way around. Probably very much the way you would do if you were to put this on your vehicle. These nuts are what we call a deformed lock nut. So there's really not a torque spec per se, because if you were to look at the nut closely, the hole where the threads are isn't actually round, it's oval. And what they do during the manufacturing process is they make the nut just like they normally would, but then they put it into a press that grabs two of the flats and compresses it ever so slightly. That way you don't need the nylon insert, so a nylock you might call it. Because of the deformation in this nut, it actually holds on to that stud at the same torque spec all the way through. So when I install them with the impact, I run it down until you get that right tone, and that's it, they're done. So this tire here, even with an explanation, only took a few minutes to install, and it's ready to be aired up, put on the truck, and go down the road.